Alright, Aquaman review starring Jason Momoa, Amber Heard, William Dafoe, Patrick Wilson, Nicole Kidman, Dolph Lundgren, and the list goes on. The movie's full, it's filled with exceptional actors. Everybody does pretty damn well performing their parts. There's nothing I can really complain about in any of their performances. Aquaman is it goes full comic book. It doesn't try to take that realistic, edgy tone that DC movies have ran themselves into the ground with all that. Oh, we got to be realistic, dark, edgy, brooding, and depressing. Let's just depress our audience. So they want to blow their brains out before the film's even over with. This movie takes a different turn. It's more lighthearted, fun-filled adventure. Makes a big splash. Uh, so we start off. Well, I'm not going to get into all the spoilers and all that stuff, but we do get that accuracy of Aquaman's origins. His father's a lighthouse keeper, meets a woman from under the sea, Atlanta. Together they have a baby, which is Aquaman, a half breed. She fled her kingdom. She's trying to live this normal life with him and stuff until the sea comes calling again and they want her back. So when we get into this movie, we have some pretty good, strong scenes, very relatable scenes. I will spoil a few of them that are very important that I feel like are very relatable to everybody. There's one particular scene early into Aquaman's life as a small child where he's at this on this school field trip or something at this aquarium tank, and all these little fishes are up against the glass, like, and he's talking to them because Aquaman can't speak to fish, and he's talking to them. These other two kids notice he's talking to fish. They go there, start trying to bully him. They're bigger, they're jerks. Then a shark like rams the glass a few times, and it scares them back. And Aquaman touches the glass and calms the shark down. That to me was a very awesome moment. That stood out apart from the majority of the movie. I mean, the movie is awesome overall and in general, but this scene right here is just something everybody can relate to. I feel like, and something it was just awesome. Anyways, moving on from that, Arthur's grown up. This has connections to the DCEU movies. They didn't really cut ties with it. They just kind of got away from all that disaster that Justice League was. They do make, some references to it, but generally this whole movie's about Aquaman, and it doesn't have any strong DCEU connections, and it's better that way. They need to steer away from all that dark, brooding mess that was, and just do what they should have done in the first place, which was give each of these characters their own standalone movie. Effectively, this is what this works as, just a standalone movie. Uh, I didn't really like Jason Momoa in the Justice League movie. I thought he was all wrong for Aquaman and stuff. But here I like his performance. I like his acting. He gets the original Aquaman suit, and that's badass. It looks great on him. Uh, One of my little nitpicks about Jason Momoa was always that he never had the short blonde hair Aquaman's famous for during his Prince days. It's not until later when he's king and kind of a veteran at being king, when he's more of an anti-hero, does he sport the long hair and the bearded look. But Jason Momoa, he's got the look of the Aquaman king with kind of personality of the younger Aquaman that's just more fun and lighthearted and jokes around. Here he's a little bit dumber than Aquaman has. He's a bit more blunt, and he acknowledges that several times throughout the movie. We get a lot of like, good, realistic interpretation of. Well, I wouldn't know how to word it exactly, but Atlantis looks great. Atlantis is This movie does some really great world building. Sets up Atlantis, the Seven Kingdoms, all that very great. Uh, Ocean Master looks awesome, looks accurate. Black Manta is really exceptional. The guy that plays him does an exceptional job, and the fight scenes between Black Manta and Aquaman are just outstanding. There's a lot of great fight scenes in here, particularly into like the second act of the film, almost into the third act, when Black Manta comes after Aquaman and Mira and Aquaman and Black Manta, they all get a chance to really shine in this long action scene. But the first part of the movie, it does all of its world building, sets up all the lore, uh, introduces you to all the characters, and gets you familiar with all of them. And each one of these really everybody's motives in this movie are really personalized. They're personally driven, character driven motives. There's nothing's really a plot device that I can remember. And that's where this movie stands apart. The Avengers, they don't do so well building up their villains in the Marvel movies. They don't give them like really depth. Here, people can complain that Ocean Master doesn't have much depth or whatever, but he hates half breeds. He hates that his mother slept with a surface dweller, gave birth to a child, had to be kicked out of the kingdom like a disgrace. And it's just put shame on him and his family. And he hates the surface world. So really, he's got strong motives. Black Manta, he loses his father. Aquaman just kind of like lets his father die. Like Aquaman could have saved him, but he chose not to. He's simply like, you guys are responsible for a bunch of murders. I'm not going to help you. Black Manta's character probably could have gone in a completely different direction if Aquaman would have helped that. So Aquaman is at fault for a dickish move. And Black Manta, that adds substance, depth, and layer. You can really relate to Black Manta for why he wants to get out Aquaman. He doesn't care about the money for the job or anything. He just wants to kill him because Aquaman let his father die. Amber Heard playing Mira, she's got some really personal reasons too. Like she's pretty much said to be married to this guy, like arranged marriage to this guy that's a dick and just wants to wipe out surface dwellers, and what will ruin the surface and Atlantean as a whole if he goes to war. And she just kind of forcefully has to be engaged to this guy or whatever. So everybody's got really personal reasons to be here. All the Aquaman origins are done right. Like I said, he grew up on the surface. Been doing his thing on the surface, and he was secretly trained by William Dafoe's character, who kept making promises that he'll see his mother again someday and he'll see Atlantis someday, but he was building him up, training him to one day be king and take the rightful place on the throne of Atlantis. Everything from the past scenes where he's a young kid training, growing up, to where he's a teenager. Some of the transitions between that stuff is really great, like really well executed too. One of my problems with Man of Steel as a movie is all the like flashback scenes just seem like all the scenes back to Clark's childhood days and stuff. They were just so out of order, out of chronological order, and just scattered, messy. Like sometimes it felt like they would cut to scenes that had no real relevance. Man of Steel didn't handle that stuff very well. None of the DCEU has handled any of its stuff very well at all. Here's another great thing about this movie too, is Star Wars pushes for all that strong women type stuff. These women lack depth, personality, or anything about them. Rey is a fucking cardboard box. Here you have Nicole Kidman kicking ass. Kicking ass. She's got depth. She's got character. She's got real motivations for everything she's doing in the movie. You have Amber Heard playing Mira. She's got strong characteristics and goals, motivations. These women are powerhouses without it them like throwing like their gender in your face or whatever. And another thing too is the the kind of like witty back and forth bickering between Aquaman and Amber Heard that just kind of building towards them having feelings for each other and the romance that will come. All that stuff seemed very well as like they don't really like each other that much or she doesn't like him that much, but you know, in the comics they end up together and all that. Uh, I just felt like their approach to this instead of being like, oh, love at first sight and all that junk. Their approach to this was more realistic and well executed. Uh, Ocean Master's costume. Ocean Master comes off like a real threat in this movie himself. And Aquaman's powers and abilities are put to very strong use. Aquaman's always been the butt of the joke, like Robin, and here he is, getting getting respect, getting done well. You know, showing general audiences that Aquaman is a very capable character, very very strong character, uh, with some really unique abilities. And Marvel's kind of dropped the ball here now because how are they going to do Namor now that Aquaman has done it and they've done it so well? Most people aren't giving this movie like the highest rating or whatever. Meanwhile, they're giving Into the Spider Verse a very high rating. It's just another Sony Marvel film. It's not as great as people lead it to be. Uh, Here, Aquaman, I feel like he just takes the mantle. It's very well done. Very well done. It's very comic bookish. They get really into the comic book stuff. They don't shy away from it. They handle it all well. Aquaman's ability to communicate with animals and use them to his defense. All that stuff's very well executed. A lot of the jokes in here are pretty funny. Like Aquaman he messes up and he's like, well, shit happens. Like stuff like that. I just found very enjoyable. Uh, the relationships are all they're all really strong relationships in this movie. None of them feel hollow or forced. You know, a lot of things in Marvel they try to do. They try to when it comes to personal relationships for the heroes in Marvel, they don't really cover those very well a lot of the times. Uh, this just looks like a great direction for the DCEU. This is a game changer, and a lot of people should go see this movie. If DCEU has left a bad taste in your mouth, this will give you a better taste. Go see this movie. Check it out. Uh, you know, this could be a turning of the tide. DC could become the next big thing while Marvel could drag itself downhill because they are pushing like the in the promotion for Captain Marvel, they're pushing like really hard on the diversity, well, the gender for the sake of gender, like they point out her hero, whatever. The promotional posters talking about future is female, and then they want to do a Shang-Chi movie, a diversity movie for the sake of diversity, because if they can repeat what they did with Black Panther, they feel like they can broaden their audience. However, you got to have your heart in something like that to write it well. Hopefully, they don't just start doing everything where it's like represent this type of race, this type of gender, just for the sake of representation. But like Aquaman, very good movie, very strong. Uh, there's a few things I want to spoil, but I'm not going to spoil because I really think people should go see this movie. And uh, this is me promoting this movie. Go see it. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. That's how good it was, in my opinion, because of the comic book accuracy. And on an entertainment level, I'd give it like a I give it an 8 out of 10. It's very funny, very exciting, very adventurous. Action scenes are hardcore, well executed, very, very different. All the ocean and underwater water stuff, sometimes it doesn't look the best, but they're doing something completely different. They have the balls to do something completely different, something completely unique, and they're doing it well. Uh, you know, some of the little music feels out of place sometimes in this movie, but the action, the acting, the sets, the characters, the world building, the it's great. I mean, Nicole Kidman kicked ass in here. Amber Heard kicked ass in here. Jason Momoa kicked ass in here. Uh, William Dafoe had some really strong scenes. Ocean Master, the guy, I think that's the same guy who played. Yeah, it's the same guy that played Owlman in Watchmen, and he does a really great job as Ocean Master. Really liked the costumes. Really liked all of that. I have the, I do gripe a little bit about the basic Atlantean soldiers. Some of their costumes just they're a little like how would I put it, like um Stargate or Starship Trooper type, or maybe Power Ranger type. Some of the generic soldiers, they had this really just like generic uh armor that just kind of takes you out of it a little bit. But the fighting and the action, it was all great. And for the main characters like Black Manta, Ocean Master, their costumes were awesome, amazing. Uh, 9 out of 10 for Aquaman. Like, subscribe, discuss. Check out my other videos. Check out my GoFundMe link. I'm not monetized. Uh, stay awesome. Rock on.